Hello, everyone. How are we today? Great. It is my pleasure to be here to kick off your 2023 RISE Leadership Summit and Awards Gala. So let's start with a story. So I was 10 years into my career when I had my watershed moment on leadership. I was 32 years old. I'm guessing about the age of a lot of you in this room. And I believe it's the reason that I'm up here with you today. So I had recently just taken on my first major profit center role at AIG. I was Chief Operating Officer of American Home. And I went from having only 12 direct reports to more than 300. So it was a really big step up. And I can recall my first budget review meeting with Hank Greenberg. He's the former chairman and CEO of AIG, an absolute icon in the insurance industry, and one of the most respected business executives in America. And I thought the budget meeting went pretty well. I was feeling really good about myself. And as I'm walking out, Hank pulls me by the elbow. He pulls me aside into a conference room. And he says, "Susan, let me tell you about leadership." He said, "Leadership is about getting more out of people than ever thought possible." 12 impactful words of wisdom that are still with me today. Leadership is about getting more out of people than ever thought possible. And that was my watershed moment. So that night I went home and I shared this story with my husband. And I said, "What do you think he meant? Was he meaning I wasn't a good leader? Was he trying to tell me that I was selling the team short and our budget should have been better and I could get more out of them?" I didn't quite know. And frankly, up to that point in my career, I was just doing my job. I'm not quite sure I had even given leadership a second thought. I clearly didn't have a RISE Leadership Summit that I was attending. So I did what I thought any 32-year-old professional should do. I started reading every book on leadership that I could get my hands on. I was determined not to let him down and to show him that I could be a good leader. So it's been 25 years since Hank pulled me aside, and I am still driven to be a successful leader. But despite all of my readings and all of my experiences, I have yet to find a single source of truth or the secret sauce when it comes to leadership success. I've come to believe there's no home run when it comes to leadership. Rather, it really comes from a lot of singles doing a lot of things well. So at Tokio Marine Group, our motto is to be a good company. And we believe that's an ongoing endeavor. It's something we may never really achieve. And I believe to be a good leader is also an ongoing endeavor. And that's the fascinating and humbling thing about leadership. You have to always be willing to explore and learn and find new motivations that resonate with you personally, with your team, and with the situation that you're experiencing at that moment. So by a show of hands, how many of you honestly believe you can be up here, like me, delivering a speech on leadership to the rising stars of the industry in the next, say, 10 to 15 years? How many? That is awesome. And whether your hand was up or down, I believe it's within every one of you to succeed within this amazing industry. And I know that's a fact because I was in your shoes once. It won't be easy, though. Success within any industry takes hard work and commitment and the willingness to never stop learning. And I'm here before you today, not because I am special in any way, or particularly brilliant, or natural talented at insurance business. I'm here because I worked hard, and I was committed, and I continue to do so to this very day. So my story is only one of thousands in this great industry, but hopefully it will shed some light for you on your road to leadership and show you that there's really nothing special about the leaders you look to. But there is one thing for certain. Your path forward and your experiences are going to be wholly unique to you. Your journey and your lessons are going to be different than mine, but I am certain they will be just as insightful for the future generations to come. So I'll show you a little bit of my background, and here's my journey. I started at AIG when I was very young. I spent the first 6 years of my 15-year career there in the actuarial department, and then I moved to the underwriting side of the house. And ever since, I've been running insurance operations in a lot of different capacities, at big companies, running my own underwriting business, to where I am today, responsible for a global specialty insurance company. And in all of these different roles, though, there's one key thread. I built upon my expertise, first in actuarial and then in underwriting. So I really urge you to do the same. Become an expert at something. Invest in yourself, be it underwriting, sales, claims, accounting, or some other role. Become a rock star at it and give it your all. I remember when I saw my first actuarial loss development triangle when I showed up at AIG, and it was so logical, the way the years and the age of development were lined up, and I was hooked. I loved everything about actuarial, trying to dig into the history and project the future. I wanted to become a better actuary. So with great personal sacrifice, I studied weekends and evenings. I remember kicking my boyfriend out. I said, I need to study, and I passed my 10 actuarial exams. I analyzed and completed profitability studies and reserve studies and Schedule Ps. I read microfiche and on and on. I threw myself into it 110%. I wanted to solve the problems at hand, and I wanted to win. I wanted to feel confident that the recommendations we were making to the business were sound. I wanted to be a great actuary, not a mediocre one. So in 6 years, I had progressed to the chief actuary of National Union as I developed a deep technical expertise in being able to, evaluate the profit and loss potential of portfolios. And this actuarial skill set has been my foundation and has played a key role in my success to today. I use my actuarial skills every day. And after that, I've moved to the underwriting side of the house, and I've been building my underwriting expertise in insurance underwriting management for the last 25 plus years. So at this point, unfortunately or fortunately, I'm pretty much considered a veteran at these things now. I dedicated myself and I put the time in, and it's within all of you to become experts as well. So I'm sure the audience in this room know Dan and Shay and Justin Bieber, and they have a hit song called 10,000 Hours. And the lyrics say, I'd spend 10,000 hours and 10,000 more if that's what it takes to learn that sweetheart of yours. And then The Outliers, a book by Malcolm Gladwell, which is one of my favorites. In fact, I just gifted it to my son and his college roommates this past Sunday as they graduated from Fairfield University. And this book also speaks to 10,000 hours. So why are singers and authors talking about 10,000 hours? Well, researchers have come to land on the fact that they believe the number for true expertise at anything is 10,000 hours. So the mathematician in me has to lay it out for all of you. At 4 hours a day, 250 work days in a year, if you could dedicate 4 hours out of your work day, it would take you 10 years to hit 10,000 hours. If you could dedicate 3 hours out of every work day, it would take you 13 years. That's a long time. Researchers have also found that the field for success was wide open. They couldn't find any naturals, people that didn't put in the time or the effort or the hours and naturally rose to the top. And they couldn't find any grinds or hamsters, people that were on that wheel and just running really hard and not getting anywhere. And they also saw that even when it came to something like natural talent as a key driver of success, the same applied. Once a musician had enough ability to get into a top school like Juilliard, the only thing that distinguished one performer from another was how hard he or she worked. That's it. So you can become an expert at your profession. You just need to dedicate yourself and put in the time. And the insurance business is really unique, as we know. Expertise takes patience. It doesn't happen overnight, but the rewards for putting the effort in are huge because this industry is like no other. The risks are diverse and always changing. The hazards are unpredictable. It takes years to see the good, the bad, and the really ugly outcomes of your decisions and your actions. So the more you see, the more you learn, the more valuable you become. Every one of you has your own unique gifts. I urge you to find your passion, commit to becoming a rock star at it, and stick with it, because the rewards are guaranteed to follow. The second critical component of success that has served me well is waking up every morning with the mindset that I have to prove myself and earn the respect of the people around me every day. So true leaders, I believe, go above and beyond and are willing to do whatever it takes to get the job done. They never ask someone to do something they wouldn't be willing to do themselves. And I believe that the tone for a strong work ethic starts at the top, and as the leader goes, everyone else follows. So this lesson for me was never more evident than during my startup experience with V3 Insurance Partners. So I had a 2-hour commute to work each day, and I had a young family at home, and I wanted to spend more time with them. And when I resigned my role at QBE to set up my own business, one of my colleagues at that time was John Neal. He's the current CEO of Lloyd's. And he said to me, everyone should do a startup at least once in their life. So he was right. For me, once was enough. It was the hardest job, honestly, that I had ever had. During that 9-year period, my job description as president and CEO was anything but glamorous and very far from what one would expect of a CEO. I put desks together. I pulled rate filings. I analyzed rate and forms. I was the master user acceptance tester. I helped set up and rate submissions. I did whatever it took to get the job done. It is an enormous responsibility to be a leader, and it is visibly front and center, especially in a startup. Every day, you face people who have put their faith in your livelihood. I felt the responsibility for 29 dedicated employees and their families personally. There was no other choice than to go above and beyond. So when you don't have a big company umbrella behind you, you really, though, do get to see the fruits of your hard work, and it gives you a different perspective on what it means to lead. It was one of the hardest things I'd ever done in my career, but I wouldn't trade that learning or leadership experience for anything. So the expectation on insurance industry leaders is very high today. The world is changing so rapidly. We are presented with new challenges on a regular basis, and the world is expecting us to solve those challenges. And a good leader knows when to get into the weeds and help show the team the way, regardless of the size or complexity of the business. So some of the issues we're facing today are quite scary, but there's never been a more powerful thing than a leader showing genuine interest and willingness to roll up his or her sleeves to help work through an issue. It instills optimism and confidence and gets everyone rowing in the same direction, just like in a startup and just like at V3. So you need to be prepared to prove yourself every single day, because you have individuals that want to trust in you, and the only way that they can do that is through your actions. So next, leaders are passionate and love what they do. There's a great Apple TV series called Ted Lasso. I'm guessing a lot of you have seen it and hopefully are fans of it within the room. And there's a character in the show called Danny Rojas. And he was an injured soccer player that just returned to the pitch after a long recovery. And in this one episode, he just keeps running around, kicking the soccer ball, and proclaiming football is life. He was just thrilled to be back doing what he loved. And I'm as passionate about the insurance industry as Danny Rojas is about soccer. Just ask my family. This is because I have been working in this industry for 35 years, and I have been intellectually challenged every single day. Outside looking in, people may think it looks boring, but on the inside, we all know insurance is fascinating. What other business doesn't know the true cost of their product for years to come? In insurance, we have to make informed decisions, use as much available information that we can get at our fingertips to feel confident about the risks we're taking on. Insurance plays a key role in helping the world to move forward with confidence. The pace of change is accelerating at a rate we haven't seen before. Innovation is flourishing. There's never been a better time to be in the world of insurance. Our skills are needed to navigate this changing landscape. So I recently posted an article on LinkedIn, and I don't post that often, so I had my marketing person on Teams with me, making sure I was doing it properly. And as we were getting ready to post, Phelim says to me, hashtags are big, we should add a few. And so like Danny Rojas, the first thing that came to my mind and I started typing was hashtag insurance is life. And as I started typing, it wasn't automatically popping up. So it appears as though that might have been the first time on LinkedIn that anyone typed that hashtag. So we posted it and waited to see the response, with one early review coming from my son Benjamin, who follows me on LinkedIn. Ben, my recent Fairfield graduate, he is going to be joining the insurance ranks with the rest of us this summer. And I asked him, I said, Benjamin, did you see the article I posted? And he looks at me with a straight face and he says, Mom, hashtag insurance is life. I was blown away. If I could get Benjamin to move, that was a big deal. I have no idea if he actually read the article, though, but I know he caught the hashtag. So, and the hashtag's actually been catching on within Tokio Marine HCC, validating that I think quite a few others out there feel as passionately as I do about this industry. And passion can become contagious. So if we can all passionately lead and inspire even just a few people, our industry will be stacked with a team of the best and the brightest. If we can all be like Hank, pull colleagues aside, encourage them forward, our insurance industry will build a legacy of greatness. So my final bit of advice to you is to be your honest self. So I'd like to share with you a personal experience from the very early days when the pandemic first hit and the world shut down. It helps to show that a good leader needs to sometimes do the simple things, the human things. So in common with just about every other company in the insurance industry, we went from 100% work in office to 100% work from home, basically overnight. And it was frightening. It was a frightening time for the world. You all know, you lived through it. And I had only recently been appointed CEO of Tokio Marine HCC a few months earlier. And I knew the silence was deafening, and I knew that we needed to communicate with our employees. So I remember the weight I felt addressing our entire population in this first presentation. It had to be delivered with the right level of hope and optimism and that everything was going to be okay. But it also had to be truthful and measured, given the uncertainty of the pandemic, the potential for a worldwide recession, and the long-term impact that both of those would have on our business. We were also concerned about the isolated feelings of our employees and what they might be experiencing, especially if they lived alone or they had people or loved ones that got sick to the virus. So in our first company-wide live video through Teams, we put together a presentation, and we reminded our employees that we were entering this event from a position of strength. We had a solid track record of strong performance, and we reminded them of the strength of our balance sheet. In order to address the isolation concern and to try to make a connection with our employees at this difficult time, at the end of the presentation, we asked our colleagues to send in pictures of their work-from-home environment so that we can post them on our intranet for everyone to see and to share. So to encourage them to participate, I closed out my presentation with my work-from-home environment. So I'd been working from home for about 2 weeks at that point in time, and I didn't put on any makeup or do my hair for just about that entire period. And I remember saying to my husband, I said, I need to go upstairs and shower and do my hair and put my makeup on to take this photo. And as those words came out of my mouth, I immediately thought, wow, that is not me being very genuine or authentic. So I decided I was going to show the team exactly what my work-from-home environment looked like. And that is the picture in the middle. So accordingly, I proceeded to take a picture of me at my dining room table, because I didn't have an office, with a Fairfield lacrosse t-shirt on, my hair in a ponytail, no makeup on. I had my laptop on display, along with the other things I was working on. So I hand crocheted a pink and white star blanket for one of our colleagues. I hand sewed some face masks for my family because you couldn't buy them anywhere. And I also tried to find a sewing machine. There was not one to be bought anywhere in the city of Houston. And lastly, on that piece of paper in the middle, I showed them that I signed up for a virtual 30-day to handstand course, as this was something I always wanted to master. So after the presentation, I got so many emails from our colleagues, but they were all on my work from home picture, nothing about the formal presentation. And I said to my mom, I'm not sure they heard anything I had to say about our business. But honestly, it was so touching. Me showing them how I was working and coping was something they could relate to personally at a very uncertain time in their lives. But they didn't just move on, they rallied behind me. I got offered to borrow sewing machines from colleagues. They told me where I could find elastic for my face masks. And I still get asked to this day as I go out to visit our offices if I've ever mastered my handstand. So leaders need to be authentic and truthful and really bring the whole of who they are to get the most out of individuals. And in today's technology age, we are blessed because we have the tools to include our employees intimately and openly in our journey. This helps employees feel valued and comfortable expressing their ideas and opinions in the workplace. And when we do this, teamwork, creativity, and innovation absolutely flourish. So if we can master our expertise, bring our unrivaled work ethic, love what we do, and be our authentic selves, we will be able to lead this industry and ensure our relevance for the next 100 years and beyond. So as the young future leaders of the insurance industry present here today, it's incumbent upon you to capture the opportunities presented in this increasingly complex world. We need to match the innovation around us with a can-do attitude if we are going to meet the changing demands and protect the world from its changing risk. But I'm confident we can do this because all across this incredible industry, leaders like you will be getting more out of people than ever thought possible. Find a job you love, and you'll never work a day in your life. Thank you, everyone. Enjoy your conference.